You have to listen to me. They are coming. I don't know how much time we have left. Please, you must believe me.
Run. Do not look behind you. Do not check the shadows stretching across your living room floor. And above all else, do not try to remember his face. Because the moment you remember him, he remembers you. It is past midnight in the prestigious archives of the West African Historical Society. The year is 2026. Rain lashes violently against the glass monoliths of the city. Inside, a brilliant young historian named Koren slams a heavy leather-bound ledger onto his desk. His hands are shaking. His breathing is shallow. For months, he has been tracking a ghost. A literal void in the historical lineage of the great ancient kingdom of Kashveran. Every king, every war, every harvest was meticulously recorded, except for a single terrifying 50-year gap. A gap where an entire civilization simply fell silent. Koren mutters to himself, his voice cracking with exhaust, saying that it doesn't make sense. An empire of that scale doesn't just forget 50 years of its own existence, unless they force themselves to. He rips open a sealed, moldering vault document, an unlisted text hidden beneath centuries of dust. His eyes scan the ancient script. He reads the forbidden translation aloud to the empty, shadowed room. In the soil of Kashveran, we buried the one who fed on our truths. We chain his name in the prison of our minds. Speak it not, lest the sovereign of the Unspoken claim his blood due. Koren frowns, whispering the name etched at the bottom of the parchment. Odu-Ahan. The lights in the archives snap off. Total darkness. Koren freezes. The air in the room turns freezing cold, turning his breath to mist. And then he sees it. The shadows on the wall detach themselves from the concrete. They don't rise up. They slide across the floor, pooling around his feet like thick, liquid obsidian. From the center of the dark pool, two glowing amber eyes open. A voice, ancient, grand and heavy as a collapsing mountain, vibrates directly inside Koren's skull. It is the voice of the forgotten deity, proclaiming 700 years of starvation ended by a single foolish mortal tongue. I thank you, child of Kashveran. I am hungry, and your world has so much to forget. Koren screams, knocking his chair backward as he bolts for the exit. Welcome to AfriMyth, Ancient Stories, Timeless Power. Tonight we journey into a completely original, terrifying epic of a majestic, forgotten deity seeking a reality-erasing vengeance. Before we reveal the terrifying power Odu-Ahan unleashes upon the modern world, pause right now. This channel is dedicated to bringing you the most powerful, immersive, and completely unique storytelling experience on YouTube. This is a one-of-one original narrative, and the only way you can support us, protect this channel from content thieves, and encourage us to keep creating these massive cinematic stories is by hitting that subscribe button right now. Like this video, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below sharing what country you are listening from. Your engagement is the fuel that keeps these ancient legends alive. Subscribe now and let us descend further into the dark. To understand the wrath of Odu-Ahan, we must travel 700 years into the past, to the golden age of the Kashveran Empire. This was not a primitive kingdom. It was a civilization of staggering wealth, fortified by massive walls of layered bronze and guarded by thousands of elite warriors. But their true weapon was not iron or gold. It was their god. Odu-Ahan was not a deity of simple elements. He was not the god of thunder, nor the master of the rivers. He was the sovereign of the unspoken word and the guardian of forbidden memory. He was a majestic, towering entity of pure gold and dark smoke, who sat on a throne in the deep canopy of the sacred forest. He protected the empire by consuming their darkest truths. If a king committed a heinous act to save his people, he confessed it to Odu-Ahan. The god would swallow the memory, erasing the sin from the minds of the populace, keeping the empire pure and unified. Odu-Ahan fed on these heavy, unspoken truths. They made him powerful. In return, the people built him magnificent shrines, showering his golden statues with precious oils and royal offerings. But empires are built on ambition, and ambition breeds betrayal. Enter King Mazi, the most ruthless ruler Kashveran had ever seen. King Mazi wanted total control. He did not want a god who knew all the dark secrets of his ascent to the throne. He summoned his high priestess, Elam, into the inner sanctum of the obsidian palace. The king's voice was sharp, dripping with venom, as he declared that the people fear Odu-Ahan more than they fear his crown, and that a god who knows his secrets holds his leash, so they must destroy him. High Priestess Elaine trembled, her hands clutching her sacred bronze staff, warning him that, Your Majesty, you cannot kill a cosmic entity with spears or fire. He is sustained by our minds. He exists because we know him. King Mazi narrowed his eyes, a horrific realization dawning on his face, as he replied that they would use his own domain against him, and if he lives by memory, they will murder him with silence. That very night, King Mazi and High Priestess Elam marched an army to the central shrine of Odu-Ahan. The massive golden statue of the deity towered over them, its face regal and majestic, yet terrifying. Ilham stepped forward, tears streaming down her face as she raised her hands. She began to chant the utterance of erasure, a forbidden dark ritual designed to rip a concept entirely from the collective human consciousness. The air tore open. The sky turned the color of bruised iron. Odu-Ahan materialized above his statue, his majestic form glowing with cosmic brilliance. He looked down at his worshippers, his voice echoing with profound sorrow and rising fury, shouting, Mazi, Elam! You dare cast a shroud over the one who carried the weight of your empire's sins? Without me, your truths will crush you. King Mazi drew his golden sword, shouting over the roaring wind, silence. From this day forth, your name is forbidden. No mother shall speak it to her child. No elder shall whisper it in council. You are nothing, Odu-Ahan, you are forgotten. The ritual took hold. Across the empire, thousands of citizens suddenly gasped, clutching their heads as an agonizing pain ripped through their minds. Piece by piece, the memory of Odu-Ahan was violently torn from their brains. Odu-Ahan roared, a sound of devastating heartbreak and rage. As the people stopped remembering him, his golden light began to dim. His majestic form began to wither, turning into cold, smoking black ash, crying out, You think this is victory, Mazi? You have not destroyed me. You have only starved me, and a starving god does not die. He waits. I will sleep in the dark womb of your silence. And when the day comes that my name is spoken again, I will return to eat not just your memories, but your very existence. With a final catastrophic tremor, the great golden statue of Odu-Ahan cracked down the middle and sank deep into the earth, swallowed by the roots of the forest. The ritual was complete. King Mazi turned to his high priestess, blinking in confusion, asking Elam, Why are we standing in the forest? What did we come here to do? Elam looked at her empty hands, her mind completely blank, whispering, I do not know, Your Majesty. I cannot remember. The Empire of Kashveran had successfully erased their god, but in doing so, they had set a cosmic countdown in motion. 700 years later, Koren is driving like a madman through the neon-lit streets of the modern metropolis. The words of the entity are burning a hole in his sanity. I am hungry, and your world has so much to forget. Terrified, Koren pulls up to the house of his older sister, Amina. Amina is a no-nonsense criminal prosecutor, pragmatic and grounded. When Koren bursts through her front door, soaking wet and hyperventilating, she immediately grabs him by the shoulders, telling him to calm down, asking what is wrong with him, and saying he looks like he has seen a ghost. Koren cries out that it is not a ghost, but a god. He explains that he found the 50-year gap in the Kashveran text, and that it wasn't a war. They performed a ritual to forget a deity named Odu-Ahan. He admits he said his name aloud in the archive, that the god woke up and is now here in the city. Amina sighs deeply, rubbing her temples, completely dismissing his panic, telling him he has been buried in those ancient history books for too long, and that he is just having a panic attack because there are no ancient gods roaming the city. Koren screams, grabbing her hand, insisting he is not crazy, and telling her to look at his hands and the shadow outside her window that is moving against the wind. Amina looks out the window. Her expression suddenly hardens. The streetlights outside are flickering and dying, one by one, in a perfect, deliberate line, leading straight toward her house. The ambient night sounds, the crickets, the distant traffic, go completely dead. Amina steps back from the window, her pragmatism intensely shattering, whispering, Koren, what is that? Before Koren can answer, the front door of the house doesn't burst open. It simply dissolves into black smoke. Walking through the threshold is a figure that defies human comprehension. It is a towering silhouette of majestic proportions, radiating a faint, decaying golden aura, completely enveloped in rolling pitch-black smoke. The facial features are shifting, resembling the terrifying, regal golden mask of an ancient monarch. Odu-Ahan has arrived. Koren throws himself in front of his sister, his voice trembling, crying out to take him, because he is the one who spoke the name, begging the god to leave his sister out of this. The majestic deity pauses. The amber eyes glow with a chilling cosmic amusement, boomed the voice. Take you? No, little historian. Death is too merciful for the bloodline of those who starved me. I am the god of the Unspoken. My vengeance is a living silence. Odu-Ahan raises a massive smoky hand and points a single golden finger directly at Amina. Amina doesn't scream. She doesn't bleed. Instead, a horrific, ethereal glow surrounds her. Koren watches in absolute horror as Amina's eyes go completely blank. She looks directly at Koren, but there is no recognition in her eyes, asking in a flat, hollow voice devoid of emotion. Who are you? What are you doing in my house? Koren cries out, clutching her face, screaming her name and telling her it is him, her brother. But Amina simply replies that she doesn't have a brother, that she lives alone, and asks him to please leave before she calls the police. But the horror does not stop there. Koren backs away, pulling out his phone. He frantically opens his family group chat. As he watches the screen, his sister's contact name, her profile picture, and all her text messages literally begin to vanish, pixel by pixel, leaving empty blank spaces. He looks up at the wall. The framed childhood photographs of him and Amina are changing. In the photos, Amina is fading away, leaving Koren standing completely alone in the images. Odu-Ahan is not just wiping her memory, he is actively erasing her very existence from the timeline of reality. Because she was exposed to his name through Koren, her entire life is being unwritten. Koren turns to the deity, tears of absolute rage and despair streaming down his face, screaming, "What did you do to her? Bring her back." The god responds coldly that she is gone, and to the rest of this world she never existed. Her job, her apartment, her name, all swallowed to feed his 700 years of hunger, and she is just the first. Every soul in this city, every lineage that descended from the empire of Kashveran will be consumed. The god promises to turn the entire civilization into a silent, forgotten void. Koren realizes that fighting this entity here is impossible. He grabs his car keys from the counter and dashes past the towering deity, rushing out into the cold, chaotic night. Behind him, he hears his sister's voice one last time, completely hollow, asking if anyone is there and why it is so dark. And then her voice cuts out forever. Amina has been completely erased from reality. Koren is now entirely alone, hunted by a starving god of cosmic vengeance. Will he be able to stop Odu-Ahan before his own existence is deleted? If your heart is pounding right now, and you are completely hooked by this original legend, this is the moment to support us. Please hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with a friend who loves deep storytelling, and drop a comment with your thoughts on Odu-Ahan's terrifying powers. Your likes and shares force the YouTube algorithm to push this video to more viewers, which is the only way we can continue to create these high-budget, cinematic stories for you. Don't let AfriMyth be forgotten. Subscribe now. The sound of a roaring car engine fades out, replaced by the dense, oppressive sounds of a thick jungle canopy. Crickets chirping, strange night birds calling, and a heavy, ominous wind blowing through leaves. Koren knows there is only one place left to go, the source of the curse. The ancient, overgrown cradle of the Kashveran Empire, located deep within the Forbidden Forest. Armed with nothing but a flashlight and the ancient parchment from the archive, he treks through the dense, suffocating undergrowth. The air here feels heavy, ancient, and charged with static electricity. As he pushes through a thick wall of vines, his flashlight illuminates a staggering sight. Emerging from the earth are the massive, crumbling ruins of the ancient obsidian palace. And there, half buried in the mud and strangled by massive tree roots, is the cracked, majestic golden statue of Odu-Ahan. Koren drops to his knees before the shattered face of the deity, screaming into the darkness that he knows the god can hear him, declaring that he brought himself back to the beginning, and that if The god wants vengeance for being forgotten and wants his name back. The entire world will know his name if he just gives back his sister. The wind violently whips up. The trees bend as if bowing. The massive smoking form of Odu-Ahan materializes directly out of the cracked stone statue, towering 30 feet high into the midnight sky, questioning him. "You offer me a trade, mortal? A single life for the glory of a god. Look around you. This empire swore eternal devotion to me. They fed me their truths and I carried their peace, yet they cast me into the dirt. Why should I show mercy to their children?" Koren stands up, his voice catching in his throat, but his eyes burning with determination. He looks directly into the massive, glowing amber eyes of the deity, shouting back that if the god erases all of them, there will be no one left to remember him. He warns that if the entire history is turned into a blank void, no one will sing his praises or build his shrines, and the god will be trapped in the exact same prison of silence that King Mazi built, for him becoming nothing at all. The majestic deity freezes. The rolling black smoke around his form slows down. The realization hits the ancient entity like a physical blow. The logic of his own domain is absolute. A god of memory cannot exist in a world completely devoid of those who remember. Odu-Ahan lowers his massive golden face until he is inches away from Koren. The sheer heat radiating from the deity singes Koren's skin, whispering that the mortal speaks with the sharp tongue of the old priests, offering a dangerous truth. The god asks, "If I spare your lineage, what will you give me to satisfy my hunger?" Koren takes a deep breath. He looks down at his historical texts, then looks back up at the god, telling him to take his future and take his name. He promises to stay here in the ruins for the rest of his days to be his high priest, to record his legends, to speak his name to the winds, and to ensure he is never starved again, so long as his sister and his people are allowed to live. Odu-Ahan stares at the young historian for what feels like an eternity. Slowly, a deep, resonant rumble echoes from the god's chest. Not of anger, but of majestic acceptance. Answering, a bargain is struck. The silence is broken. Go back to your city, Koren of Kashveran. Your sister waits for you. But remember your oath, for if my name ever fades from your lips, the void will return to claim it all. With a blinding flash of golden light and a rush of wind, Odu-Ahan vanishes back into the stone statues. The oppressive weight in the air instantly lifts. The sun begins to break through the jungle canopy, casting warm golden rays over the ancient ruins. Koren blinks, finding himself standing alone in the quiet forest. He frantically pulls his phone out of his pocket. His hands shake as he opens his messaging app. There, at the very top of his screen, is a new notification from Amina saying, "Hey, Koren, the storm is crazy out here. Did you finish your research at the archive? Call me when you get this." Tears of pure relief spill from Koren's eyes. He presses the call button. The phone rings once, twice, and then his sister's voice fills his ear, vibrant, warm, and beautifully alive, asking, "Koren? Hello?" Koren smiles through his tears, looking back one last time at the ancient golden mask of the deity hidden in the roots, answering, "Amina, I'm here, I'm coming home, and I have an incredible story to tell you." The past never truly dies. It does not sleep. It simply waits in the heavy silences we are too afraid to confront. The legend of Odu-Ahan stands as a timeless warning to our modern world. Be careful what histories you bury, and be careful what truths you choose to forget. For some gods do not accept being starved. Thank you for experiencing this journey with us here at AfriMyth. This entire project was created to bring you the highest tier, most original, and cinematically gripping African folklore on the internet. If you stayed with us until the very end, you are a true champion of oral tradition. Please, show your support right now by clicking that subscribe button, liking this video, sharing it across your social media, and dropping a comment. Tell us your favorite part of the story, or what ancient African legend you want us to bring to life next. Your support is the only thing that allows us to keep producing these one-of-one cinematic masterpieces. Stay tuned, keep the torches lit, and remember, ancient stories, timeless power. See you in the next legend.